Welcome to Inspired Changemakers, a podcast about all the amazing things people are doing to make the world a better place. This podcast is about creating change and the moments that inspired our guests to activate. My name is Julia Healey, and I'm the CEO of United Charitable. Stay tuned to be inspired. Hey, Hannibal.
Hey, Julia.
Welcome to the podcast, Inspired Changemakers, where
Absolutely.
I talk to...
It's good to be back.
I know, right? You were my first repeat guest.
Yes. Oh, my first repeat.
Yes.
I remember when the inception of Inspired Changemakers in Atlanta, 3 years ago?
Yeah. Oh, wow. My God. 3 years, almost to the day. Yeah. July. That's crazy.
I was there.
You were there.
I was there.
Well, you know, we started strategizing, and I'll do your bio in 30 seconds, but, you know, we started strategizing about why we are so lucky to have the job that we have. And the fact that I get to talk to people that really are inspired to create change in their community or in themselves or in people around them. So I was like, Hannibal, do you think other people will want to listen to like this? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, there are people out there that need to hear it, want to hear it. And whether they want to hear it or not, we got to push it out anyway. That's what we are and what we believe in, right? And one of my goals always was to push out that, right? Because not enough of it is out there. Not too many people are pushing out the good that's being done by people in general, especially in my world of athletes, right? That's not being pushed out. So whether they want to hear it or not, we got to push it out.
Right.
We got to push it out.
So I'm going to get into your bio, and I think it's really interesting because I'm going to probably focus on what most people don't focus on. Right? So yes, you played in the NFL, and yes, you played for important teams. We won't mention any of them. No, I'm kidding. But you also worked at the NFL, the Trust, right? The NFL Players Association Division, the Trust. But more importantly, you've been a philanthropist.
For a long time.
Yeah. And not only have you been a philanthropist, you've been raising your children to be philanthropists as well. You've spent your career helping people transition, using philanthropy as a tool.
Absolutely.
To deal with what they need to deal with.
Absolutely.
And it's something that you do consistently day in and day out. So that's my bio to you.
Okay.
Philanthropist, Hannibal Navies.
I can take that one.
But so tell me, so growing up on the West Coast.
Yeah. Oakland, California.
Were you always going to be a football player?
I thought I was going to be a track runner. I thought I was going to be a track star. So my dad was like, my dad ran the hurdles. He still holds records in Wayne State. He still holds records in high school in Detroit. He was called the Flash back in the day. I looked at I still have some of his old yearbooks from high school, and everybody called him the Flash. He was just super fast, right, and ran the hurdles. And still, like I said, seriously, he still holds records at Wayne State. So I thought I was going to be a track runner. So I thought I was going to go to the Olympics and all that kind of stuff, but who knew? Football? So football, I was always a football fan, but never thought I was going to be a football player until I just, jumped in. I didn't start playing football till 9th grade. So,
really?
Yeah.
And now your brothers and sisters, you have?
2 brothers and 1 sister, so I'm the youngest. So my sister's the oldest, and I have 2 brothers under her, in between her.
And is everybody athletic?
They think so.
That's the best answer I've heard.
They think so.
But like when you were younger, could your brothers dominate you? Because you had 2 older brothers.
Yeah, 2 older brothers. I mean, until they couldn't. One of my older brothers ran track.
Okay.
So I always looked up to him.
Yeah.
Running track. So I thought I was gonna follow in the footsteps. What I did, I ran track in high school like he did, but I surpassed him a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was a lot faster than he was.
Yeah.
But no, I used to look up to my brothers. I was a family man, family guy, raised with my brothers and sisters. So I always looked up to my brothers and sisters, even if they, you look back, they might not have been the best athlete. But to me, as a young kid, I always looked up to your bigger brothers. So I always thought they were good athletes.
And so is that when you kind of merged your vision around philanthropy and sports? When do you really think that you kind of equated the both of them together? Was it in high school? Were you doing community service activities with your team? Was it your dad?
I think I grew up in advocacy, right? Meaning that my father, we always were advocating for people, community. I grew up where my father he was a chairman of the African American Studies Department at Berkeley High School. So every year we had to fight to keep the department. So, organizing marches and organizing people and marching to the city council and speaking up and advocating and parents and students and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up in that kind of environment. standing up for people that couldn't stand up for themselves, feeding the homeless, doing that kind of stuff with my father, just always giving back to the community, whatever it was, whatever the need was. My father was there in the community doing it. So didn't understand what philanthropy was back then, didn't understand, nonprofit or that world necessarily. But it wasn't until I got to the NFL where I started understanding what it could be, what it could look like. And I wanted to be a part of it in a bigger scale. So that was when, every team, you have different programs. You go do stuff with the kids and do stuff with the park or do things, as the team pushes it. Then you start seeing your friends that are, ahead of you, that are older than you, start doing stuff in the community. You start learning from them and start going to their events and start seeing what it could be. And you're like, I want to do that one day. And you want to give back. And then everybody wants to go back and where they're from, where they were raised, and give back to the community where people know them. And touch the people and touch and feel the people that they grew up with or the community that they grew up in. So that's where mine started, right? So once I felt ready and prepared enough and got the guts, it's because it's nervous. I was nervous to really start going back to where I'm from and trying to give back and not knowing what I'm doing, which is why Athletes Charitable means so much to me, because I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Started 501c3, going back to Oakland, and just started giving, just started doing things, and started my football camp and just started organizing and doing programming and just started doing it, right? And just got better and better and better at it because I was hands-on with it. So it was fun. It launched me into where, where I am now. It's just, I see it now in the athletes that we work with, our young clients that we have now, young professional athletes that we have now. Like, for example, Wendell Carter. I remember his first camp. I remember his look in his face, and I remember how, the look in his eyes and how excited he was and how he saw the impact, and he actually saw his vision coming true and having the programming and the teaching. And ever since then, it's like addictive. I've been seeing him grow and just doing more and more every year. So, he's just an example of it, but all of our guys are just doing so much Athletes Charitable, and I love seeing that.
And so, okay, so then you go to so when you were with the teams, whoever you were playing for, did you always participate? Because is it mandatory for you to participate?
It's not mandatory, but some of the team activities are, you kind of,
you should go.
You should go.
Yeah.
But they ask you if you want to go. So sometimes I always want to be involved.
And has kids like teaching kids and advocating for kids and what they could, has that always been something that's been important to you?
Yeah, I always love that bucket of kids. I don't know why, but that's because I see myself in them.
Yeah.
Right? So I see where I could have been if I didn't have some kind of direction, or if I didn't get lucky, or you know what I'm saying. Or,
there's no luck, Hannibal. There's no luck. You worked very hard.
Just growing up in Oakland, and my father passing away at such a young age, and being in environments where I didn't have the parents there like I used to, and just navigating through those times. And so for me, it's about giving back to those young kids so that they can, miss those mistakes and jump over those hurdles of adversity that exists, that come out for them.
Have you always been a risk taker?
I don't know. You think I'm a risk taker?
I do.
I don't know. I believe in myself. I believe in visions I have. I believe in when people, come together with good ideas and things like that. So I wouldn't call it a risk taker. Sometimes I just have a passion and believe in something. I'm going to do it.
It's funny. The reason, and I think I'm a risk taker too. Yeah. So I don't think that's like some people hear that and they think it's a negative connotation. Right. I think that we believe in all the things that could possibly be happening, and it's not going to happen if we don't take risks, right? If we don't believe in ourselves. But do you remember the first time kind of Athletes Charitable, like the first time we met?
The first time we met, we were in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Jason McPhee introduced us. We had a dinner at some restaurant, and we had a round table of people. I remember that. And just hearing about United Charitable, there was no Athletes Charitable at the time, so it was just hearing about United Charitable, was just trying to grasp what it was. I was like, what is
I was
United
like,
Charitable?
Hannibal, I was like, okay. I just remember going to you, like, we have this thing called fiscal sponsorship and donor advised funds, and you're like, well, I've never heard of that before. And I was like, but listen, I just need you to know, I would not be involved in philanthropy at all if it wasn't for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And Donovan McNabb's right. So if he didn't have a cause that he put about on a screen, I would probably never be in philanthropy, which is crazy, right? Because my parents did things, but they weren't things that I thought were incredible. Like the rights for New Jersey teachers weren't like,
it was not so exciting.
Yeah. And so I knew that if we could bring our platform to athletes, that it could change, right? The world, right? It could change the way. And I remember saying to you, I'm like, we have this thing and it's like a project. But what made you start getting interested in fiscal sponsorship and donor advised funds?
What got me interested in that is you, Julia. I mean, our engagement, I mean, it didn't start off in just like, hey, let's just jump into this. Of just understanding, you know, I had 360 Sports Academy, it was my foundation. And we were talking about how United Charitable could help stand up 360 Sports Academy and things that could be done, and just understanding what that was like. And so I was like, we started having a lot of conversations back and forth, and it was very interesting to me. And I remember really, I was like, I need a card. All these ideas started jumping in my mind. I was like, I used to call you and text you like, you got time to talk real quick? I remember calling you and texting you and
scenarios,
different things and different scenarios. And then, on and on just came to where he was. But no, I was always just intrigued by what that was. And it was something when I really dug into fiscal sponsorships and donor advised funds, I was a little disappointed that I didn't hear about it before, truly. And I mean that. I was like, who's been keeping this from me? Like, I'm like, why did I not know this? Especially, I consider myself a philanthropist, right? I consider myself having a foundation, doing all this. You
totally are a philanthropist,
stuff, right? And so I had never heard of this. And as a professional athlete and as athletes that I work with, I had never heard of this. And why wasn't this being something presented to us? You know, it's just like the thing, when you get into the league, people pitch you certain things or teach you certain things. And I'm like, why are they not teaching us this as an option for us to start our philanthropy, especially when it keeps us compliant, safe, and navigates us in the right direction in philanthropy, as opposed to just say, hey, start a 501c3 and figure it out yourself. Like, they give you no direction, right? So why are we not teaching these young athletes what a fiscal sponsor program and what a donor advised fund are? You know, so it was just something that's when I got to dig into it. Obviously, you were like, before I came on to work with you, like, let's understand what this is. And I appreciate that about you, because it would be
you liked my boot camp. you liked my like 6 classes that I was like.
I was like, me, I was wide-eyed.
Of course.
Like, I wanted to know what all this information. So it was not like a drag me into it thing. It was like,
no, not at all.
Give me this information, and I thought it was so smart, because without it, I didn't want to have the foundation of understanding what it was and how it could work. I'll
never forget. We were coming back after I talked about like legacy and gifts in perpetuity. And you were like, and I showed you my fancy spreadsheet, because that's like my favorite things in life are spreadsheets. And I showed you my spreadsheet, and you go, wait, what? You're like, if I was playing and I could put away like $1 million, I could kick off $50,000 a year each year in perpetuity forever for my camp. I go, yes.
Yep. That's when I started to.
And then as soon as you were like, well, how about this scenario? How about this scenario? And it was so interesting to me how then when, I said, okay, Hannibal, like, I don't know how to do this. It's like, I know that the products are and how to keep you compliant. I can be the CEO of the company all day long, but I do not know how to bring this to athletes. I said, do you think you could package this and educate? And your answer was?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Absolutely.
But what makes you think that, especially in today's world, right, where we have platforms and branding and all these things, why do you think philanthropy is so important for people to think about?
It's a lot of different reasons I think it's important to think about. But if you think about athletes in general, why it's important to them, why it's important to, the overall picture, I think it's just because they're leaders, right? They're leaders in the community, leaders in the locker room, however you want to take it, right? To be a professional athlete, you've been seen as a leader for a very long time.
Absolutely.
Whether you consider yourself a leader or not, being a professional athlete, people look up to you. So you've been in a leadership position for a very long time, whether they know it or not. And so I think it's important for leaders to step up, right? It's not an obligation. I know some athletes like, I'm not obligated to be a role model or this and that and other, but you are, whether you want to or not, right? And so for me, it was just an opportunity to show how they could take it to the next level. And it was also an opportunity to me because, I truly believe this, that philanthropy is a business, and they're not, if you really, a lot of athletes, when they get into the business world, want to get into business, and what better way to get into business when the brand is revolving around how you give back, your brand and how you give back, right? And building it around cause and building it. So I am super intrigued, and I was super interested, and still am, obviously, and continue to teach this, but the fact that we give people the opportunity to run businesses around giving, around impact is really what this is, social entrepreneurship. I use that word all the time, as you know. It's in our mission statement, Athletes Charitable, because it takes it out of nonprofit, which is, I kind of call it a bad word because people really think it's like no money involved. I don't know why, right? So when you talk about social entrepreneurship, it kind of brings it to fold as this is your business. This is your business. You're still an entrepreneur. You still got to go out there and get it just like any other business. You got to have the P&L and the budgets, and everything has to be the same as everything is there, right? So
and it's worse if you get grants because you have to have even more reporting.
Right? So it's actually harder than just the regular LLC.
Yeah.
There's more parameters around,
of course,
a foundation or a 501c3 and what can and cannot be done. The LLC, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do, right? And so, getting them in a position where it's done right. And I hate hearing the statistics about 78% of athletes who have foundations are not compliant, right? And burns me, right? Because that stops us from being our best selves in philanthropy. It stops us from raising money, stops us from getting grants. It stops us from creating the impact that we really want to realize because we're not set up, right? So we have the heart and the passion and the vision, and we can go out there and be in the community and do all the stuff, but the back end falls flat, right? And so without that, we're not reaching that big money. We're not reaching that sustainability that way.
And I think what's so interesting is now, when you were on originally, Athletes Charitable is not where it is now, right? 60-something athletes. You've seen so many different causes. Creating that map, that game plan, that playbook, whatever you want to call it, of how do we create impact.
Yeah.
And not the impact that Hannibal Navies wants to see.
It's their impact.
It's the impact that you help them figure out from what they want to give.
Right. That's true, because some of them they think they want to do something.
Yeah.
But it takes them in a different direction.
Yeah.
Right? And like Wendell Carter started one way, ended another way.
Yep.
And some people start, and just for me, for instance, I started with one thing and it opened up a whole world to me, an understanding of what I could do, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of our athletes start with camps, sports camps, because that's what we know. It's the easiest way to give back to the community, but then it grows. And it grows from there. So it's exciting to see it grow from that to all these other programs.
Scholarship, resource. You've just seen, and you were just the MC of a gala, right?
Yeah. DJ Reader got Man of the Year. So it was amazing to be a part of his gala, to see his community, Greensboro, just support him. And that's another thing, is when you do it right, and you get your community behind you. Your community gets behind you, and that's what it takes to make this work. When I was speaking at his gala, I was like, you guys in the audience is what make this happen. This is how sustainability is created. He can't do this by himself. He can't do this forever in Greensboro without him. So the support of the community, the people that were in that audience, people in Greensboro that grew up with him and saw him grow, or the people that newly understand what he's doing, that's what makes it work. And so to see him pour in the community and see the community pour back into him, that's kind of like the blueprint that we're chasing. We're chasing that, right? How do we get more athletes to do what DJ Reader's doing and going back to community? The community supports him, and then now it's not all the weight is not on DJ anymore, right? Now it's your responsibility. So that's what I told the audience. I was like, DJ started it, but it's your responsibility to keep this going. So that that's the challenge that I gave to the audience, was like, how does Greensboro, how does this community keep this going and get it off, not just for DJ, but how do we all do that together?
And what does it mean, do you think, for athletes to feel like they belong to something?
What does it feel for athletes to belong to something?
Yeah, because, I think about this, and I would have never thought about this if I didn't, know you, is the fact that, you belong to a team, right? You were part of something there. You took a bus, you did, you know what I mean? You were part of something. Yeah. And now to be able to belong to your community in a philanthropy way.
Yeah, it's your new team. I mean, you're building a team that you can control and be a part of, but it's your team. And for me, going back to Oakland every year, doing that, I was a part of that. The community, that was something they looked forward to. I looked forward to. It became an annual thing, so that became my other team, right? So I would do that football season, and then I would just instantly turn my attention to my foundation and figure out how I could do more in my community. How can I add more programming to my camp already? How can I do more of this, right? And so the community poured into me and I poured into them. So that became my other identity. And that's why I believe in, philanthropy as a transition point for professional athletes, because that became my identity after football. I didn't necessarily struggle with my identity after football because I poured it into that. Right. So I poured it into philanthropy and my social entrepreneurship. So I woke up every day with a purpose. I knew who I was. I knew what I wanted to accomplish. I had a vision for that. Right. So that was, whether we talked about before about whether it was true or not, that's what I was doing.
Right.
I believed it in my head.
Yeah.
Right? I believed that I was going to get it done, and I woke up every day with that purpose. So I didn't struggle with purpose because I had my foundation.
Yeah. And so you hit on such an important part of when we talk about nonprofits and advocacy and all these things. Nonprofit is just a tax coding, right? That doesn't make us pay taxes on the revenue that we earn.
Right.
Right? It doesn't mean we don't have to earn revenue.
It doesn't mean that people don't make money. It doesn't mean that you don't have to.
Right.
See, when you say nonprofit, I don't use that word very often with the athletes.
Yeah.
Because it does put your mind in a state of like, there's no money being made. There's no money that, like, just like you said, it's a tax code that just says it. Like you said, you get, you know, you can get tax, deduction off of your money, right? That's pretty much all that is. But it takes away the connotation of the business that needs to happen on the back end.
And I have spent my career preaching, like you've heard me on my soapbox too many times, about sustainability, how that is the focus, 100%. And that we can create change through, by creating something sustainable. But the biggest problem, I think, in the nonprofit world and is that, we're trying to create change and we all approach it in the same way. There's very little innovation at times because there's red tapes with the budgets and this is all the things and there's what is it to have a grassroots social entrepreneur that knows the change that they want to see and having the ability to be grassrooted by Athletes Charitable?
I love, started from the bottom, now we here type situation. I just love building. I love business and I love building, especially around something so positive as community impact and just seeing the roots grow from the, just from the very granular bottom of it and building it and involving family, involving the community. Because most of our athletes have their family involved or have people that they trust involved or, it means something to them. So this is not something that's just done because they just want to do it, right? And so contrary to belief, athletes don't just do this to get tax breaks.
Yeah.
Most of the time they don't get tax breaks.
Right.
So most of the times they're spending money anyway and not even getting tax breaks. So whether they're with Athletes Charitable or not, they're giving back thousands of dollars a year just because they care, right? So teaching them how to do it the right way and empowering them to take control of their brand through philanthropy is just something that's so amazing, and we're only scratching the surface of it. And when they get it and they understand what can be done, there's no limit to what you can do with your philanthropy. Like business, like you can have a brand, you can sell T-shirts, you can do all kind of stuff. You can give back, you start classes, you can do so much. I mean, as you know, our programs beyond the athletes, they do so many different things, and so cool. And so being innovative is something that I want our athletes to do, and that's what I encourage them to do. Like think outside the box. We don't have to always do the same thing. We don't, we can think big, think innovative, think sexy, think different things. We don't have to be the same old stuff, right? And that's what business is being innovative, and they can do the same thing in philanthropy.
Well, I think it's funny is because when you talk about social entrepreneurship, I think people don't always know, like maybe your audience always knows what it is, but what would you describe as social entrepreneurship?
An enterprise that has a purpose of I say impact or good, or a mission of giving back to the community or the people that it serves. So it's still it's still an enterprise. You're still a business, right? You still want to earn, right? So I'm never going to, that's why I don't use the word nonprofit, because I'm not, some people think I don't even get paid.
Right. That's my favorite.
Like,
that's my absolute favorite.
Because I work in philanthropy, I work at so-called nonprofit. They're like, well, how do you get paid? So they don't have any understanding.
Because I volunteer my time, right?
So they have no idea. But I just think it's a great opportunity for these athletes and people to just really stand on. When we talk about social entrepreneurship, right? Enterprising, business, and creating, and just when you talk about business and think about how many businesses out there that change worlds, right? Think about how many.
That's it.
Think about,
that's when we think about social entrepreneurship. Now, when Apple was in their garage,
right? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you're looking at somebody or Bill Gates, all of these things that started in the garage or IBM, all of the things, right? And it started with somebody that believed that risk. Yeah. I'm gonna use the word again. That risk taker that believed that they were going to change the world and the way people operate. Yep. And whether or not each one of our athletes, each one of our projects, like Beyond Athletes Charitable, United Charitable, each one of our social entrepreneurs believe what they are doing is going to make a positive impact in the world.
100%.
And none of are alike.
None of them are alike. They all do different things.
Yeah.
They all want it to be, uniquely to them.
Yeah.
They want it to mean something as far as what means something to them. They want it to look like them, feel like where they came from.
Yep.
And so it just, it becomes an extension of them.
Yeah.
And when they see it working and they see the impact, and I always say this too, impact is measured by numbers, obviously, but one person can change. Like I take pride in that. Like seriously, I take pride. Like I can have 300 kids at a camp, and one kid can come up to me and say, "You changed my life," and that's all I need to hear, right? So it doesn't matter about everybody doesn't get everything,
Right.
but when you can actually see, change in a person, that means more to me than any kind of data you can give me, right? The real life data of people saying that you changed my life, or a parent coming up to you saying, "Hey, my son or my daughter took this away from this and this changed them." Like that means something to me. So that's where the addiction comes from me, is like, when you start to get that, you're like, how can I do more? How can I give back more? Or how can I change more of those lives? Or how can I give that what I got from that one person, how can I multiply that by 1,000, right? And that's really what this is about.
And I think it's really funny because people and philanthropists gets very hung up on that word that you just said, impact. Like, because they want to give their money to what is going to create the most impact.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily, how do I say this in a way that's not necessarily measurable, right? So is it going to be really hard for you to measure the impact, right, that you made on one kid's life that now tries to do something that they weren't necessarily going to do before?
Right.
They have a little bit more confidence in themselves. They get into the program.
Right.
What does that do for his friend group?
For the
that's
athlete that we helped?
That's what, or the kid, right? Like that kid
Right.
that you just talked about.
Right.
It gives his friend groups the ability, right, to see somebody striving and gaining and so to measuring impact, right? And impact is so different to each person.
It is. Impact is different for each person, but like you said, you get one person to believe in leadership that goes and starts to lead this community. So that's, my thing was leadership development through athletics, right? So if I could build one leader and they can go back to their school, to their community, and become a leader in that, even if you get just your friends group to follow you, right? And that was me, right? So I didn't consider myself a leader until I got older, understood what leadership was, but my little 4 or 5 friends that I hung with all the time, right? I led myself, right, which led other people because I was a leader in that. So if I can give a student athlete or athlete or just a student in general to go back to wherever they're from, right? It could be their household, it could, like I said, their friend group. It could be in the locker room. It could be wherever. They're taking that leadership back and them leadership skills or the vision or the talks or mentorship back to where they're going. And if they can continue to spread that out, that's what we're doing. That's what I tried to accomplish.
And what do you think it is about athletes wanting to give back to their hometown rather than the city that they're playing in or whatnot? What is it about their hometown?
Because it gave them something, right? And it gave us, right? It gave us something.
Yeah.
I look at Oakland, and without Oakland, I wouldn't be who I am today, right? I wouldn't be the man I am today. I wouldn't have the grit, the grind, or whatever that city brings to you. And I just felt like I owed it to them. I owed it to give back to people so they can try to do the same thing, so they can come back and do camps and give back and be the next generation to do it. So for me, it's just always a dream. Everybody wants to, in my community, everybody wants to come back and give back and say I made it, but I want to give back to people and let them give back. So it's bigger than just being vain and saying I want to act like I made it, I'm successful, so I'm doing this foundation. But it's really about being able to come back and support the people that supported you, right?
And now tell me a little bit about NIL. For our listeners that don't know what it is, can you explain it?
Name, image, and likeness. So it's the new term that we are talking about in college sports now, which has been morphing over the last couple of years. Used to be name, image, and likeness was a way for athletes to use their brand and their marketing power to make extra money and things like that. So over the last 2-3 years, it's changed to where they were getting paid for marketing deals or, appearances and things like that. They can get paid because, as you know, historically, college athletes could not get paid. So this was changing it to where they can have little market deals and different things in the community or the college and get paid money here and there. Now it's changed where they hate this word, but it's the truth. It's pay to play, right? So now NIL means you're getting money to play in college sports, right? So you don't even have to have one marketing deal, but you can still get paid by your university. So they changed the rules 2 years ago where the university could pay you directly. Before it was you had to get money you had to get your deals approved, and you can get car dealership or a marketing deal. They can pay you outside source, but the college cannot pay you directly. Now that's changed. So the college can pay you directly. So now we're talking about professional sports. So NIL is what they call it, but it's really just professional sports in college. That's really what it is.
And why do you think it's so important that philanthropy is taught the right way for those 18 to 22-year-olds, right? Like it's
super important because they're getting money way earlier, right? And so one thing that is super important about philanthropy that I always stress as well is there's financial benefits as well, right? And I don't want to run from the financial benefits and teaching that. When you talk about financial literacy and things like that, like why not teach philanthropy as a part of some of that financial literacy and learning how to give, but also get tax breaks, right? You're making money, right? So why not, if you learn how to give, because you already have the passion to give, and learn how to use that in the correct way and give back. But I just think from an NIL standpoint, we're teaching them earlier, right? We're giving them the resources and tools earlier. So take a 18-year-old kid like my son now, he knows about a fiscal sponsor program and donor advised fund at 18 years old. When I didn't learn about it until I was, I ain't gonna say the age, but I was in my 40s, 30s,
40s,
right? So, you have to understand the impact that can have when you're giving that back and teaching that part of it, right? And so at a college level, and then also from a college level, because they can get paid now, because they can now stand out and have brands and do things, they can now raise money for their causes. They now can get, instead of the boosters just saying, I'm going to just give you money flat out, the booster can say, I love your cause. I want to support your cause, and give money to their cause so they could do more in their communities and give back. So it's just, now they're walking brands, meaning that they're, why not make your brand around something very positive, right? And why not, instead of just having a car deal and the car, Mercedes being your brand, why not you be the Mercedes, right? Why not go out there and you be known as the person who's giving back at such a young age and doing it the right way? People will get behind that. So if this, my goal is 5 years from now that this is a normal thing, and that people are just pouring into these kids, to these college kids foundations and raising so much money that they can just continue to give back. So imagine if a kid played 4 or 5 years in college, but then never went to the league, but then he's still supporting his community for the rest of his life because he was able to do it the right way, right? That's really what the goal is.
Well, because it's not only that. If you think about how many college teams there are compared to how many professional teams there are, but let's just talk about football. I'm not even going to touch on other sports with NIL, but the impact can be so much greater and can be so much more or so much far-reaching, right? So if you think about, like, if you had all the schools, like we're in Georgia right now, right? Really figuring out their causes, like uplifting the inner city or uplift the areas that really need it. You're now talking about how many kids are usually on I know how many on a professional team, but how many on a college team? Is it the same 52?
We're talking about like 100 something kids.
Oh, it's like double the amount you're allowed in the NFL?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. You now have 100 kids that could pick different causes that are meaningful to them to give back the community and uplift the community. Talk about impact.
Yeah, I think we're at the very beginning of this.
Yeah.
And
you're on the front edge innovation side.
Innovation side, because it's continuing to change, but what's not changing is what we do, right? It's like this is going to stay the same, but they can plug into what we do, Athletes Charitable, and it continues to be consistently the same. Right? So no matter how much the landscape changes out there, NIL, this stays the same. And one of the things I pride ourselves in is that we've taken to the nth degree legally to understand this space of NIL and how it relates to philanthropy, right? And so that's important, right? So we're not just going out there like, hey, NIL and philanthropy. Like, we've actually taken the time to research and study and legally understand how this can work and do that. So to bring these athletes in, these young athletes at that age, I'm really excited about the NIL space with philanthropy, because why are we waiting until they get to be a professional athlete? They're making money now, right? They have the ability to give back. Not only do they have the money, they earn the money to give it, but they're in a position where people will want to give them more money to give back, right? And I think that it's the opportunity to now stand up and do it. They just don't know, right? And it's an opportunity to educate as well. And I just think it will, we talked about transition earlier. My son, whether he goes to the NFL or not, 4 or 5 years of him doing what he does, his social entrepreneurship, running his business that way, I would like to believe that he's going to be better off whether he goes to the NFL or not, right? And being able to step out into that community. And it's a way to engage your community, right?
Well, because I think that's what everybody, and we can talk about this all day long, I think that's what everybody forgets about nonprofit. Everybody does not think it's a business. So you don't think that you have to create relationships. No, you do. Right? You are selling something. You're selling the hope. You're selling the hope that things can change. Whatever cause that you're talking about, whether it is St. Jude's or it's the American Red Cross, you are telling people that for their dollars, I will create change.
Yes. It's a business. You have to figure out, how are you making money?
Yeah.
Where's the money coming from? What are you selling? What are you doing? Whether you're selling hope, whether you're selling financial literacy, you're still selling something. Something.
And here's the biggest thing. Do you know how much money, do you remember the statistic about how much money went into the, in 2025, how much money went into the nonprofit? How much was donated?
Oh, it was like some crazy.
$594 billion.
Yes, that's right. It was like know, it's crazy.
We are some of the biggest. This is an industry. The nonprofit term is it's an industry. It's just like we're going to talk about the technology industry. We can talk about the education
100%.
industry, right? How we pay taxes is regardless. It's still. And so I think when you especially, like I think about your son and what you're teaching him how to create relationships, how to customer engagement, what it looks like.
That's what this is.
What it looks like to create partnerships, what contracts look like, what employment looks like.
100%.
You're absolutely giving them all the skills. 100%. I'd like to thank United Charitable for sponsoring today's Inspired Changemakers podcast. United Charitable is a national nonprofit that focuses on guiding you on your charitable journey. Whether you like to simply streamline your giving or you like to create your own charitable initiative, United Charitable has the knowledge and resources to support you. If you'd like to learn more, check out the link in our bio. That they really need to succeed in any type of entrepreneurship, whether it's social or for profit.
In business school, it's like, how do you talk about your product?
Yeah.
Right? And you still, if you have a foundation, you still have to talk about your product. What is your product? What do you do with your foundation? Why am I giving you money?
Yeah.
Why should I give you? Why should I donate to your cause? Or why should I do this or why should I do that? Right. And you have to learn how to speak about your vision and your mission and how you're helping and these things. Right. So you have to understand your business. And I think it's just super important I had to learn this. Right? I had to learn how to talk about. And then as athletes, we are, very shy about asking for money for certain things because we're like, okay, everybody looks at us like you should be doing it and take it out your pocket, do it yourself. Right. So, the fundraising part of it, fundraising is just when you start sales, right?
Sales, Hannibal. I don't know how.
Raising capital. It's all the same. Like if you're starting a company, you have to go raise capital, right? So what's the difference in your foundation? Okay. You have to go raise capital to do what you're trying to do.
So naively, in my first career, I was a financial advisor, cold calling, accounts, assets, like aggregating assets under management, blah, blah, blah. Naively, I go, hey, because I was like, young at the time. We won't say the age, but I was young. I was like, okay, I'll go into a different career where I'm not going to have to ask people for money.
I don't know where the career that is.
And I was so shocked the parallels between being a financial advisor and working for a nonprofit, right? And being in development in that side, because it is so similar, right?
It's very similar.
It is so similar in the sense that like when I was a financial advisor, I'd be like, hey, is retirement important to you? Let's talk about that. Right. Now I'm like, hey, is your legacy important to you? Do you really care about this community? Is this important to you? Have you been surprised along the way at anybody's causes? Because there's a couple, not athletes, but just like in general in our clients, in our bases are like.
I mean, you'd be surprised. We got people who want to grow trees. We got people who grow cheese. We have people who have bike clubs. We have people who, aviation programs. We have, you think about it, they have it. And I just love that. I love that everybody has it. You can do anything you want to do. You can give back any way that you choose to give back. It doesn't have to be.
And it's not judged.
No, it's not judged. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you're doing cheese. Like if that's your passion and there's a need. Yeah. And you're feeling the need. People are appreciative that somebody's thinking about them, right? And
we have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think about this. For cheese makers to stay independent and not sell out to some of the big corporations so they can apply for health insurance. Yeah. So there is a collective community and that's what we raise money for.
Wow.
Can you imagine like just the things that people think about, hey, listen, this is my community and my community is hurting and people are leaving because of health insurance. Right. How can we fix this? Like, how can we make this charitable? We can do virtual walks. What can we do? And then have people apply for the grants, grants individual. And so I think about when you talk about social entrepreneurship, it's so, everybody tries to put everything in a box with us, right? Like you're a little nonprofit and you're going to teach kids to surf or whatever, but it could be whatever you want.
There's no one thing. That's what people are like, can we do this? I'm like, if it's a cause and there's an impact to be made and there's a vision that people that you want to help or community you want to help, it can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah, it could be done.
And I just remember one of the causes that we were talking about with one of your athletes was there was a barrier between the resource room, right? I think it was up in Detroit,
Yeah.
and it was stocking tampons in the resource rooms. Do you remember this whole thing? And the fact that, you know, if a girl wanted to participate in a swimming or something where she would need, and just being able to provide a resource.
You'd be surprised the little things that the need that we can feel, you know, by doing things. And so until you dig into, and that's also understanding your community, right? Understanding, you know, sometimes they start one way and you learn something, you do something different, right? And that's why I say starting, at least jumping in the game and understanding what the community needs. Like with my son, we didn't just say, okay, this is our cause. We said, we're going to learn what the need is in the city.
Yeah.
Let's learn what Tucson needs and let's understand what the community needs, and we'll volunteer, help, do everything. But then we understand the need, then we can go in a direction. But until then, let's understand the community. Let's understand what the need is and do that. So sometimes they get into it thinking one thing, they realize the need. You start talking to the people and talking to the community, like this is not happening. We would love some help here, and then you go in that direction.
And that's so important what you just said. So important. And it's just, it drives me crazy, is because most people don't look for the need. And we talk about it as a company. We talk about it as our company principle. We look in our backyard and we say, what is needed?
It's the same thing. When I worked at the NFLPA, you know, one of my things as a former athlete working at the PA was like, let's not just think we know what they want and just give them something. Like,
sorry, I don't mean to clap and laugh, but like, it's not a revolutionary, but it is, because most people don't approach it like this.
Yeah, let's not just say, oh, this is what they need, let's give them all this stuff, and then we wonder why they don't use the resources. Like, we have to give them, let's find out what that is first. Let's find out truly what from the people what that is, and then you'll have better access, you have better return on investment, so to speak, or more people activating what you're trying to get involved in. So that's just been my motto. Let's not just assume what this is.
Yeah.
Right? Let's not just say, hey, this is what you want. Even with Athletes Charitable, we built it one way, changed it, continue to build it. We molded, we listened to our you know, our clients and kept molding it and changing it. And so it's not just, even though as an athlete, I think I know what we need, right? But I still have to listen. Yeah. And when you listen, it continues to change and evolve. And that's why I always tell you, we're always an infinite beta. That's why I always tell you, we're always going to continue to change.
My favorite thing about the infinite beta, we'll say, or about the innovation that we approach, and, you know, being the CEO and the vice president of development, like, we really do have a responsibility to not only our employees, but our clients, to make sure that we are always in this place of innovation with
innovation goes beyond, and like, business goes beyond just the clients. It's us, right? How are we being innovative and how are we onboard and all the technology and giving them the tools and the grant station? Like, are we giving them all the things? And you know, for us to be innovative, we have to do a lot of research. We have to do a lot of meetings. We have to see if it works for our clients, if it doesn't, if it's real, is it not real? So being innovative in that and being able to bring innovation to our clients is super important. So that's also what we do. Like, we're not just saying, hey, we'll start you, like, we're giving you all the bells and whistles too, because this is what is going to make it easy for you, right?
And I think if we look at it too, like the stuff that we haven't tapped into or are going to be tapping in here shortly, right? What are some of our clients are bringing to us now with like the social impact investing? We're seeing our clients hit twice now. Not only have they donated their money to charity, so it's only going to go to a charitable cause, but now they're investing in something that they truly believe in, right? That's giving them a return and eventually will pay out and go into the charitable industry. But we have so many ways to offer our clients a way to reach their charitable goals.
I think you hit it right on the head. I think it's the hardest thing about explaining to people where I work is it's not just this. It's not just this. There's so much we do, right?
It's different. I've been doing this for how long, and it's different every day.
It's different every day, all the time. And so I think that's honestly what keeps me going, is because I could walk into any room. Yeah. And I can do business with anybody because we do so much stuff, right? And it's not what people think it is. Oh, you do foundations. It's not just that, right? There's so many different things. And whether you're a business owner or whether you're a school teacher, we can help you do something that you need, right? So I love the space, and I've learned so much in this space and continuing to learn, but it's so much, it's vaster than people think it is.
It is. And I think what's interesting as more companies and people are evolving and we're doing more, you know, it's so fun to watch how people, like the boxing, you didn't get to come with us, but the boxing event at the country club. Who would have thought that a country club have decided to have more of a charitable impact, and they wanted to do grants for their employees? Right. Education, they wanted to do scholarships and grants for their employees at a country club. And they put on a boxing match where they, you know, paid professional boxers to come in. Right. And they raised over $300,000 to help the employees of that country club.
Incredible. It's incredible.
When I say there's not a lack of people coming and being like, hey, I want to help. Yeah. and us being able to give them the tools that they need.
We get them to the point where they're willing to take that step, right? Because everybody doesn't have that thing in them where they're like, I'm just going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't, but if you give them the reason why, like, here's why you can do this, right?
Yeah.
Here's you got support from United Charitable Athletes Charitable.
Yeah.
Here's the resources and tools we already have plugged in for you, so you can take that step, take that leap.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable taking your vision to the next level. That's kind of how I look at it, right? As a social entrepreneurship, let us help you take your business to the next level.
And, it's really funny because I've been on vacation last week, so I've been sitting a lot with, United Charitable 2027 because, I'm done with 2026 now. It's already over. But I've been sitting a lot, and I wrote over that we've gotten a lot of bequests this year, right? So a bequest is, for people that don't know, a bequest is when somebody leaves something to United Charitable in their will. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so proud that they believed in our company so much that we are now going to honor their legacy when they're gone, whether they're giving it to their children to send out grants, or they've decided the 4 organizations that they want to support and have it written down for us, and we'll send those checks each year. I think it's so important when you're right. We could walk into any room, and if philanthropy is on your heart, we can serve.
It can serve, and it's. I love that aspect of it, right? Being able to be so multifaceted in philanthropy, and just a selfless plug for us. Everybody's not that way, right? Multifaceted in what we do, but we can touch every avenue, every industry. Like when you talked about the charitable industry, but when you talk about all the different things from tech to this, like it touches every industry there is, and it's Absolutely. And it's amazing when you can be creative around it. I remember we did our team event, our team charity event, volunteer. Can't remember the name of the coffee shop, but explain that coffee shop.
Simple Bay,
It has about 2 or 3 coffee shops that are kicking butt business wise, but they're social entrepreneurs, right? The people that they're helping, the people that they employ, the people that they serve, is all philanthropy, right?
Yeah.
And so
they hire special needs,
right?
And they work with homeless,
Correct.
So they are a social enterprise.
Social enterprise, and it's still philanthropy. It's still a business, right? And so one business, and they still have other philanthropic enterprises. They all feed into each other, and it's like that's how you do it right? And that's inspired me. Like, man, this can be done the right way. Social entrepreneur is the right word. It is the right thing because that's what they were doing. And a lot of people just don't get that.
So to end this up, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. The first one, philanthropy is hard. We've talked about how inspiring it is. We talked about it. How do you keep yourself motivated when you don't get the yes to like 360, or you don't get the yeses you like?
You have to be built for it. Business is not for everybody. And let's just take the philanthropy out the way. Business is not for everybody because if you're not willing to go through the bumps and bruises of building your business, it doesn't matter if it's philanthropy or just any other business or whatever, LLC versus 501c3. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're not built for that and built for the adversity that comes with it and the no's that come with it and all the things that come with building that up, then it's not for you, right? But we obviously give them the easy button to do that, but you still have to, and I tell people all the time, even though this is a easy button, it's not a magic pill. It's not a magic pill. We just Athletes Charitable, United Charitable gives you, and then all of a sudden everything is good. You still have to guide your vision and lead your vision. There still is a lot to be done and to get it to where it has to go. And so, like I just think that that's a big thing that most people don't look at, right? You have to be willing to do the work. Yeah. You still got to be willing to do the work, and it has to mean enough for you to do that. For me, there's been times where it's hard, and I'm like, can I keep doing this? I mean, social entrepreneurs we talk to that are just like, I can't continue to keep doing this, right? I'm ready to give up. I'm ready because it's hard. It's not easy. Because
you can't control the speed in which the change happens.
You cannot. And you clearly see impacts you want to realize. You clearly see the community you want to help. So easy, You can clearly see the kids or the community or the people. You clearly see the help that needs, like, these people need help. I need your money, right? Yeah, like these people need help. Give me money because these people need help, and it just doesn't work that way, right? And so a lot of athletes think because they're athletes that the people are going to pour money into them, and it's not the case, right? It's actually the opposite, right? Because they're athletes, people will give less money, and that's the weirdest thing, but it is true. And so I'm trying to work past that to where the impact speaks for itself. And that's why I'm trying to teach more of our athletes. Like we talked about the numbers, but unfortunately you got to have the data. You got to have the impact. Of course. You got to have that because that supports your causes. And so it's not just you talking about it, but right now you have the numbers and data. Data is everything nowadays, right? And if you get the data to start quantifying what you need, then that's how you can get the money. Because right now they're like, well, you make millions of dollars. You know, why am I giving you this money, right? But at the end of the day, you know, that's not sustainable. And communities are built. You told me this, right? The foundations and community are built off of the communities that support them, the people that give them the money. It's not given. It's not because the person that's given. It's because of the community. And so without that, it's not going to survive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my last question for you, Hannibal, is how do you see philanthropy changing?
I see philanthropy changing in my eyes of just, I think it's back to that word innovation. I do. I promise you. I just think it's what you imagine it to be. Philanthropy is whatever you can see in your head. And I think especially with social media and content and different ways to use your voice, which is why we're so excited about Athletes Charitable, because they have a platform, right? And it's the platform that they have is so enormous and so huge. Sports is probably the biggest it's ever been in the world right now, right? And it's getting bigger and bigger every year. So if you're fortunate enough to be a professional athlete that is able to be, go into the space and then start philanthropy, look at the platform that you have. Look at the people that want to just listen to what you say or what you do. Or, I mean, people nowadays, they're paying, they're looking at people they pay people just to look at them on the screen on TikTok or Instagram Live. We haven't. Right?
That's our next idea. Like, we're gonna have a whole platform for influencers to use philanthropy because they need to.
So that's where I see it going, is where people start to grasp that, right? And I think we're going to be innovators in that space as far as like how you can use a fiscal sponsor program, how you can use a donor advised fund and make it mean something to you, right? Because right now, I don't think people always understand how a donor advised fund is a very powerful tool, but I don't think everybody understands how it works and how you can benefit and how you can use it, right? Fiscal sponsor program is a very powerful tool, but I don't think everybody understands how you can be innovative and use it. So, for me, I see that being something that's going to change, because I honestly, at this point in my career, believe that starting a 501c3 as an athlete is actually the opposite of what you should be doing, because it takes so much attention away from your main goal of playing the sport that you're playing, right? And the fiscal sponsor program puts you in the box of support and not having to know everything at one time, right? And that's you have a support team that you don't have to know. I tell all the athletes all the time, you don't have to know everything. That's what we're for.
Right. You don't have to know how to do that partnership.
Your vision out there. Tell us what you want to do, and we'll tell you how to do it, right?
Yeah.
We'll tell you what you can't do, but we'll tell you how to do what you want to do. So it's not our job to say, no, you can't do this. So it's our job to say, here's how you do it correctly, how you do it compliantly. So take pride in that.
Awesome. Well, Hannibal, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thanks, Julie.
I so believe in everything that you're building with Athletes Charitable and United Charitable. So it was fun to have you on.
Thanks, Julie. And thanks for also having the vision to put this forth as well, because without you, this would not be here. And I haven't seen what we're doing to the degree that we're doing. Obviously, I'm biased because it's ours. I'm sure I believe it. But, kudos to you for having the vision as well to see this through and to support Athletes Charitable and to support our clients, because it's not easy. And that's another reason why athletes are not easy to deal with all the time, right? Athletes are not easy. They want to do it their way. They want to do it that way. And so we've had to we've had to grow with our athletes. We've had to teach, and we've had to learn, and we've had to do a lot of different things, but we're still here because we believe in what we do. So it's not for the faint of heart, right? To deal into the athlete space and dealing with athletes and people around the athletes and how they want to do things and trying to get them to conform to how to do it the right way. So we stuck with it, and it's paying dividends. So I give kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Hannibal.
I would like to thank Athletes Charitable for sponsoring today's Inspired Changemakers podcast. Athletes Charitable offers a concierge membership service that provides the tools and resources to build a legacy through service. Our athlete-led team has the first-hand experience and expertise to provide hands-on support that simplifies the entire process for athletes and entertainers to reach their social entrepreneurship goals and create lasting impact in their communities. To learn more, check out the link in the bio.
Find Inspired Changemakers on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and comment on all the awesome things you are doing to make this world a better place. Don't forget to subscribe.